This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show!
Hold on, unmute the mics. There we go. Yeah. Let's start the show. We're live.
We're live.
We're live on the internet. We are alive. We are breathing people. We are alive. We are alive. And we don't just live, we thrive. Bang.
We are humans being, and you can't even handle us.
Humans being beautiful.
You heard me.
That's where we are on a Friday afternoon, on just a super chill Friday afternoon. Welcome to Fan Controlled Fandom, everybody. Alex, hello.
Hello, Kenny. How are you? What are we doing? What is this?
I'm great. What is this? This is we are on the internet. Al Gore in the late early 1990s wanted to find a way so files could be delivered via what is called an internet. And then since then, people decided to use it as a way to trash other people, and that's where we are now.
Legend has it that Al Gore wanted to send a funny picture he'd seen of Tweety Bird looking like it had just woken up. He wanted to send that to Tipper, and he's like, well, how am I going to do that? And then he thought, electronically. So, and
what? I'll tell you exactly what I'll do. I'll go ahead and find a way to send this via the computers. That's my Al Gore. ...
The world is ruined.
The world is ... Here we are. Here we are. We're in the Cape space today, baby. As we are every Friday here at noon PST, 3 EST, 9 a.m. Hawaii time, baby. Wow.
Hey, everybody eating breakfast in Hilo. Aloha.
Aloha. I think it's actually 10. I don't think they don't have daylight savings in Hawaii. So it's actually 2 hours. So it's actually only 10 a.m. in the wonderful, great state of Hawaii. We are in the Cape space. This is all things content-wise that have people wearing capes, superheroes, space people, knights, anime characters. We are going full board banana guga on anime today because we got a lull in the content for a little bit before the Aquamans and the What Ifs and the Gugas come out for us to watch. We're deciding to go super goofy today, and we're going to be talking about anime. But before we talk about anime, we got to talk about the quick pieces of nerd news. It's called Quick Hits. Here comes the stinger. Nope, wrong one. Wrong one. That's the game time stinger. Here's the quick hits.
That's quick hits.
You know, it just felt so right in my body to dance at that moment that I think I just kind of ignored. And we'll talk about this in our post-mortem wrap up. Just we disappointed I am.
To take a peek behind the sausage being brought into the world, we decompress after the show for 7.5 hours. It's like the whole rest of our Friday. Very, very involved. And I'm glad that happened because the kind of announcer voice that I was giving beforehand was like obnoxious. So I needed to be knocked down a couple pedestals, and here we are.
I look forward very much to this afternoon's mutual light touching.
Fantastic. Oh boy, here we go. I realized that I put something on here that involved talking about a trailer, and I didn't watch the trailer. But hey, you know what? You can't win them all, baby.
You can't beat them, but you can join them.
You can join them. The big news, I want to say big news. The biggest news this week. There's two big stories in the fandom space. The first one is that there is talk. There's this whole kind of will they, won't they with Spider-Man 4. So there was an interview this week where Tom Holland was like, if they put together a good story, I'll do it. Like, yeah. And that good story is number of zeros after a single digit, the number of zeros after it is what the story is going to be.
Hey, Tom, here's a story. Tommy Boy went to the bank.
So that's still in negotiations. But one thing that directed the, I don't know what you want to call it, the Coming Home trilogy, Far From Home, Homecoming, and No Way Home. He is not coming back. He was directing the Fantastic Four, and now he's not even doing that. But he is doing the Skeleton Crew, which is the next Star Wars television show we're getting. So we'll see.
Speaking
about
of
that.
getting, hold on. Avi Rothman is calling me right now. Should I?
That's
answer
insane
it
because he called me like not more than like 20 minutes ago. So maybe he's watching live. If you're watching live, Avi Rothman, which I highly doubt it, but if you are, hit us up in the chat. Just seriously fight us in the chat, Avi Rothman.
Do you think Avi has a Twitch? I don't think Avi has Twitch.
I don't think he even knows. Oh yeah, Freddie Airmail said he called him too. It's crazy. I know. It's crazy.
We should all call him back at the same time.
We should. Let's get him on a group chat. And we'll just live stream that, and it'll be everything that the world wants it to be. No, the other news we got this week is that potentially Sony is eyeing Drew Goddard to be the replacement for. He is the quote unquote favorite. He directed Cabin in the Woods, Bad Times at the El Royale. Kind of a fun choice here. I don't know if you've seen Cabin in the Woods. It's a fun movie. I doubt you have because it's scary, but yeah. It's with one of Chris Hemsworth's first starring roles. Really fun, and Bad Times at the El Royale too he's a very stylish. Any relation to? No, it's not Jean-Luc Godard. No, I wish. Wouldn't that be incredible if they just rolled out Jean-Luc Godard's corpse and made him direct a movie?
Action. I thought it was the Rocket guy.
The Rocket?
Goddard was a rocket. He was one of like the American founders of rocketry.
No, he directed Bad Times at the El Royale and Cabin in the Woods. He's apparently the front runner to direct Spider-Man 4. This is what Tom Holland says. All I can say is that we have been actively engaging in conversations on what it could potentially look like for a fourth rendition of my character. Whether or not we can find a way to do justice to the character is another thing. I feel very protective over Spider-Man. I feel very successful with each movie, which I think is really rare. And I want to protect his legacy. So I won't make another one for the sake of making another one. It'll have to be worthwhile of the character. That's what he said about that. But I mean, come on, dog. It's happening.
Everybody says everything and it's true until it isn't. I think
exactly.
That said, it's better than somebody going, yeah, baby, get me back in that suit at all costs. I love it.
I'll do whatever you want me to do. I will bend at the knee. Drew Goddard, just to give more context too, he actually was the EP on Netflix's Daredevil and the Defenders series. The first one was pretty good. The second one that I mentioned there was okay. He's also apparently currently working on the Sony Marvel Sinister Six film project, which, I mean, we are going to be going to our graves trying to make that happen at Sony. We're just like just refuse to let that go away. We tried to set it up with Andrew Garfield. That did not work. And then we're kind of starting it going. We got the Venoms. We got Morbius. Oh, wow. And then the Craven film got pushed. Did you ever see Morbius?
I have not. No.
Not as fun as you would like it to be. It should. Like I've mentioned it before on the big broadcast, is that, you had the template which is you hire actor who is goofy and let him get goofy. And that's how it works. And that's with the Venom. And then you hired one of the most goofiest, like notoriously known goofy guys who makes goofy choices in Jared Leto, and he plays it straight. It doesn't quite work.
If you're a goof, isn't the goofiest thing of all to not goof sometimes?
I guess so. But they ended that movie with just kind of wedging in like a Sinister Six tease by like, spoiler alert for Morbius. They when Tom Holland ages out of the role, he should retire the character. I agree. I do think Tom Holland is he is kind of the perfect person for this role. And then they'll retire him, and then 2 years later they'll reboot it.
Best we've had, but if they retire him, I think that it really leaves the door open for Miles Morales. That you can get like 15 more movies out of a Miles Morales.
Yeah, because we're never giving that up, baby. We're never giving up the Spider-Man. But anyway, at the end of Morbius, they wedged in this storyline that supposedly when No Way Home, when the when Benedict Cumberbatch, Benny Cumbies, said
Ooh.
that thing that brought everybody over into Earth 616. It somehow, for whatever reason, brought Michael Keaton's Vulture over to whatever universe Morbius and Venom are existing in, which doesn't make any sense. In the exact same spot that he's in the like he was in jail in Earth 616, and then he's in jail at the end of Morbius, and he just is like released from jail because this guy just appeared in jail and he didn't do anything wrong in this universe. And then he like has like a desert meeting with Morbius where he's like, we got to do something about this Spider-Man. And then Morbius goes, I'm interested. And it's like, what? There's so like, and it's like Vulture in his full Vulture outfit, but with the helmet on. So it's definitely not Michael Keaton. They've definitely just like ADR'd him after the fact. And it's like Spider-Man has not been discussed in any way, shape, or form in any of these Venom or Morbius movies. And then all of a sudden it's just like, we got to talk about Spider-Man. He's like, I'm interested. Okay.
Oh, cool. You know, like, how long are they going to continue to like biff it like this? You can't talk about it.
I'm going to say, what do you mean biff it? They're all winners. No, but I do think, you know, I mean, we're gonna have Morbius. We got Venom. We're gonna have Kraven the Hunter coming. Do I want to see Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jared Leto, and Tom Hardy in a scene together? Kind of.
I don't not want it.
Yeah, exactly. You talk about two Brits who do just epic American accents: Aaron Taylor Johnson and Tom Hardy. So that would be just fun in and of itself.
Hey, what if Aaron Taylor Johnson and the guy from The Bear were in something? They kind of have a thing.
Oh, that would be interesting. The long-haired kind of brooding in each other's faces. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
The guy from The Bear. He has a name, but you know, it's fine.
Sebastian Carmichael.
That's not his name. Sebastian Carmichael. Whatever. He's got a name. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll get some news on Spider-Man 4 very, very soon. The other news in the Marvel universe, well, there's another little piece of news in the Marvel universe, but the other kind of big thing that happened this week is apparently there were a bunch of Deadpool 3 image leaks. I did not look at any of these. I want to be fully surprised by Deadpool 3. I know you're a spoiler guy. Did you look at the leaked footage or leaked pictures?
I didn't go searching for it, but when stuff on Reddit kind of came across my view, I did look at a couple of things I saw. I'm not going to say what they were. No. I'm just trying. I'm trying to find the broadest terms to see, because I actually don't know the full extent of what all of the spoilers that were released are. If there's more than just what I saw, it'd be amazing to me. But
I'll give some broad context. This is all I've read. I've not looked at any of the pictures. So apparently, like, because then Ryan Reynolds went to his Instagram and been like, hey, supposedly there's some leaked images that are out. And he's like, you know, we've tried very hard to make this movie secret. You know, when you're doing things like bringing back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and you're shooting it all on a soundstage, it's a lot easier to keep that quiet, you know? But when you start, and that's what Ryan Reynolds basically says, like once you start shooting out in the real world, you know, goofy people are going to be hiding in trees and stuff to get pictures. So that's what happened. Apparently, once they went outside, there's some photos. And then Ryan Reynolds just, I think, yesterday went on Twitter and put a bunch of like funny, like replaced whatever the people who they're talking to. It's like an image of like, it's like Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, stuntman, and they're clearly talking to somebody, and whoever that person is whatever the spoiler is. And it's like he's replaced it with like the Predator or Steve Urkel or like stuff
Mickey
in the
Mouse
back
is one of them.
Yeah, stuff in the background, and which I'm like totally fine for. I run the gamut. Part of me feels like I understand that people spoil this stuff because they want the clicks and the views, and part of me just feels like, cool, man. And it's a man. There's no way that this is clearly like dude who is 47 years old and is looking for any way to dunk on Kevin Feige. And
Disney,
you raise your prices on Disney Plus. So guess what? Like, but then a part of me feels like, come on, dude, like, just, we don't, like, just let us be surprised by stuff. Like, we're so obsessed with trying to be first that it just is like, can't we just let stuff we talk about this on the big broadcast all the time. Can't we just like let stuff exist? This all plays into the whole like director's cuts and release the Ayers cut of Suicide Squad. He was just talking this week about hopefully that's going to come out. I'm like, who wants this? Who wants this?
David Ayers, and that's it.
Here, I'd like to make my own cut of Suicide Squad. When's that going to get released? I want release the Stevenson cut.
Cut it out.
Hey, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Suicide Squad cut to black.
It's Friday, folks. We're really just. I'm trying to see if there's any more news on this specific front about the spoilers. I just think this is the kind of thing where this is just going to be a hard movie to keep quiet, Yeah, there's Mickey Mouse is in one. There's some QB. Oh, Quibi. There's a big Quibi logo in the background. I think that's the thing that we've talked about previously on this show. There's something on a cue card, and it just says Wally lower the cue cards. That's a reference to Seth Meyers' show, his cue card. But clearly there was something written on that whiteboard that implied something. There's an image of Urkel walking near Hugh Jackman. So, yeah, I just feel like it's going to be a hard thing to... Oh my God. I just read something else that I can't even fathom what's happening. I'm going to read it to you in a second, but I just, I'm just kind of tired. I want this movie's obviously gonna be hard to keep quiet. There's obviously gonna be an absolute ton of Guga in this movie. I just hope people let the Guga be Guga, and that's it. That's the quote that put on a t-shirt. Let the Guga Guga, baby.
Let the Guga Guga, baby. I think that they've got to start doing some like decoy stuff, shooting stuff just to confuse what's out there.
Yep. Yeah, I'm here for that. Bring in Chris Evans just to shoot like a fake Captain America thing. That would work.
I think I've not gone back to try to find this again, but I do remember before Force Awakens came out, seeing pictures of Adam Driver in a Rebel pilot uniform on the set.
Oh, I love that.
And so I was thinking at that point, I was like, oh, are they trying to like sow doubt? Like letting false plot points leak. Yeah.
Back when JJ was trying to tell a story. Heyo,
mystery box.
One other small piece of Marvel news this week. One of the projects that was basically trashed in the Variety article that we talked about recently was Blade. Apparently, Blade is gone through numbers of rewrites, numbers of all kinds of things going on. Mahershala Ali is now, keeps getting older. There's a new director. There's all kinds of things happening. But apparently Mahershala Ali, when being interviewed for Entertainment Weekly, said, you know what? We're working on it. That's the best I can tell you. I'm really encouraged with the direction of the project. I think we'll be back at it relatively soon. So I know that's just like, of course, that's what he's going to say. But he also very easily could have said like, I can't talk on that, or,
yeah,
that's not happening. But he did go out of his way to say that I think it's working better. So, to me, it works on paper. Blade, Mahershala Ali, check. That works.
I think that I'm excited for the opportunity to connect to this character that I've never really had any interest in. I've never seen any of the first Blade movies because that whole thing didn't really like the aesthetic, the character. None of it really appealed to me. And then especially because it was a character, it wasn't like Spider-Man. It wasn't anybody that I had an affinity for, but I do like the MCU product so much. I like what they do. I'm excited to see how he fits into whatever they're going to build with him in it. So yeah, I'm excited to. Oh, hello. That sounded like you just started up Frankenstein's monster.
Says that there was a trailer that aired. Yeah, I'm still there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you now. There's a Blade video game coming from Bethesda Studios. I saw that trailer too. It doesn't really indicate much except what the character is going to look like and sound like, and maybe the setting, but not a whole lot of like You don't know if it's a first-person shooter. I mean, you could probably infer some things based on the other developers and what they've done before, but I wasn't familiar with any of the rest of their games. But it was cool. I mean, Marvel has a Wolverine game coming out that's people are very excited for.
That's right up your alley, my friend.
Except it's PlayStation exclusive, and I don't have a PlayStation.
Hey-o, Sony,
yeah,
for the win. Yeah,
but
baby.
the Spider-Man game, the Spider-Man games have been well received. This latest round of them, Wolverine, like I said, is coming, and a team up between Captain America and Black Panther, but in the 40s.
I love
that co-op
that
game is coming soon too. So
nice. It better be Castlevania or we riot in the chat. I love it.
Symphony of the Night. Oh man, like wait till we get into the anime discussion, because Symphony of the Night is a perfect sort of like Japanese media title.
Symphony of the Night, Final Fantasy 47. There's couple of little quick tidbits here before, because we're in the quick hits. We're got a couple more quick hits. You wanted to specifically talk about the Kong Godzilla trailer, Godzilla Kong team up movie. Like the previous one was Versus. Now this is a team up. And you said after watching Godzilla -1, top 5 movies of 2023, you said you wanted to cry after watching this. Can you explain yourself?
I felt like it was getting, content wise, it felt like it was getting the bends. Like this, it looks so lumpy and stupid. Like it was like, I just
this
saw
is
this
coming from a man whose father just retired from the company that produced the film yesterday. So there we go.
Well, yeah, they can all pound sand for all I care now, but yeah, it just looks, I was just so bummed. Godzilla -1 was so great, and then literally I think 12 hours later I'm watching this trailer, and you know, we gotta get them together, and they're gonna blah blah blah, and they're running toward the camera at the end, and I guess now they're sort of the same size.
Yeah, that was the thing. I did see pieces of this trailer, and the one thing that I thought was jarring, or even in the poster and the artwork, is they are like teasing them as being the same size, which is straight garbage. Like if you're making this movie, and I think it was kind of covered in, I haven't seen Godzilla versus Kong. They should be like, Kong should be at like Godzilla's like mid chest. Like there's no way that they should ever be eye to eye at any point. But you know, these movies, like the positive that they are, which would mean that Godzilla is smaller, then it doesn't sync up.
He's the king of the monsters, and there's a reason for it.
They literally named the sequel to the legendary Pictures Godzilla in 2017 or 2018 was literally called Godzilla King of the Monsters. So, you know, there we go. I don't understand why Kong even needs to fight him. You lose. You're not the king.
There's so much. I mean, you want to talk about a goo-gaw movie when it's like, it seems like Kong versus Godzilla should be kind of simple, but no, Kong is from a Kong tribe from underground, and he has to get a spear, and they have to have these special nuclear hovercrafts that go underground to find the spear, and he's got to get the spear to fight Godzilla, but there's a Mecha Godzilla, and the Mecha Godzilla is bad, and like it's just not cool, man.
And you just go back to Godzilla -1, and it's like, you know what? Why don't we just take it all the way back, and why don't we just tell a story? And why don't we just like focus on people, and then tell a character and make Godzilla what he is, which is a metaphor for so many things in life, both mental health issues, both nuclear issues. I mean, God, amazing. Speaking of Godzilla, a popular streamer echoed your praise of the movie. He went in and prepping to be disappointed and said it was great. Yes, Godzilla -1.
It's fantastic.
Go see it. So
definitely the best
good
monster movie you can see in a theater. It's
one of the
best, like Kenny said, it's one of the best movies I've seen this year. It's
the
fantastic.
best. It's the best kaiju movie since probably the first Pacific Rim. I mean, truly.
Yeah, it's better.
It might be. It's better. And it's better than Pacific Rim. Yeah, it's better than. But I'm just saying, like the only thing that could come close in terms of quality is Pacific Rim, but it's better. Godzilla -1 is better than that.
And it's certainly the best Godzilla movie that has ever existed. I mean,
100%. Yeah, I don't. That's not even. Gosh, there's a whole next. Screw it. We're gonna talk about Godzilla -1 again.
Yeah. Godzilla -1 Volume 2. We're changing the thumbnail. We're pivoting
everything. It's a hard right. One more trailer. Did you see the Furiosa trailer?
Yes, I did.
I got to tell you, the Mad Max with Tom Hardy, another great casting there. Tom Hardy, that movie, talk about a movie. Holy crap.
Oh,
That
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
I mean, what a freaking experience that movie was. Movie that has almost no plot. It is just like, can you take me from this point and then take me back? Great. And that's what we're doing. And it freaking works. When they announced that they were making this like prequel thing based on Charlize Theron's character, and then Charlize was originally attached, and then did not become attached to the movie, and they cast Anna Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth. I was like, okay, I'm mildly interested. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, okay, great, done. Take my money. Looks fantastic. It looks unbelievable.
I'm gonna echo you on Mad Max. I mean, I watched that movie in my house, like on TV, and
Which is like a mistake, but it's still fantastic.
It was such a visceral experience. I don't think I've really rarely had an experience with a movie like that. And yeah, it just is pristinely made. Like one of the finest examples of just flat out filmmaking, I think, that has come out in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I mean, everything that looks weird and silly and whatever, sure, let's do it. I want to see it. George Miller. I'll go see that in a movie theater.
It is worth. I tell you, I saw the Mad Max Fury Road in the theater. Was like it was fantastic, and this looked like it's just the same kind of thing. Yes, great, you did it. Everything is great. I mean, it's a trailer. We could walk in the movie theater and it could suck, but who knows? One more thing before
I trust the director of Happy Feet.
Yeah, that's right, George Miller. Lest we ever forget. One more quick piece of news. Natalie Portman said in an interview this week, because she has that new movie on Netflix. I think it's December or something, May Remember.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she's open to return to Star Wars. Of course you are. Of course you are.
What?
Money. There's a little thing called money that exists. And if they put enough in front of you, you'll say yes.
Right.
But
that's known.
The reason why I brought this up is because I think of what they did in the Ahsoka series, where they brought Hayden back and let him actually like play a fuller character than he was allowed to play in the movies. Like, I would love to see her have that kind of return to where she doesn't have just like super flat dialogue and is basically given the direction to just read it off as if you're reading it for the first time. Like that was the acting note she was given throughout all the movies. Like, it would be nice to see her do something where she gets to actually work. It's
unfortunate that her character, that loop is closed. It's not like Obi-Wan where we have this inferred gap of 20 years or whatever it is that you can kind of put him into stories with. Her character died 20 years ago. She was 20 years younger.
Even though Leia says in A New Hope that she remembers her mother. So
yeah,
we could take some time to make that happen. Maybe Padme shows up as a Force ghost, or I don't know. I mean, but Padme was not Force sensitive, but I don't know. I just feel like it would be cool for her to get some sort of, do it in Ahsoka, have her come back in a flashback, and there you go. Oh, you got an idea, Brew.
I just had a thought.
There is it. What is it?
Padme lookalike. She ain't even Padme. She's one of the
the woman who died. So Anakin was putting it to a handmaiden, thinking it was Padme the whole time.
No, the character that you follow that Natalie Portman will play
is a handmaiden.
One of the doubles.
Fantastic. It's just a chance to see some of that happen. We've seen so many people.
Write me a check, Kevin. Write me a check.
So many people get redemptive arcs. We saw what's his face guy who played Jar Jar.
Yes,
he got his little redemptive. Ahmed Best got his little redemptive arc in The Mandalorian. We brought Hayden back to give him some shine. Like, let's just bring her back. Let her get some flowers, and then we can go back to pounding sand.
Oh,
I hate sand.
He hates sand.
Of course.
It gets everywhere.
You know what I don't hate? The fact that we just finished quick hits. Bang. Here we go.
Boom.
We are on the Fan Controlled Sports Entertainment Twitch, YouTube stream. We're streaming on Twitter. Let's go. So we have to give one piece of sports news every week. It's part of our contractual obligation of being here. And Alex, you talked about how the racing season is over. What are we talking about this week?
Well, the scandal season has just begun as earlier in the week, the FIA, the regulatory body under which Formula One operates, published allegations or published an announcement that they were starting an investigation into allegations of conflicts of interest between the FIA and organizations within F1, and said that this was based on a complaint that they had received, when in reality, it was revealed after every single F1 team came out and said, we didn't complain. It was revealed that they had they had undergone this investigation based on allegations in one publication. And immediately within 48 hours, they closed the investigation, but they put Formula One into an uproar, and they have reignited calls for Formula One as a racing organization to separate themselves from the FIA. Now, how that works, what it will be called, remains to be seen. But Formula One as a racing league is wholly owned and operated by Liberty Media. They operate under the Formula One racing regulations that are supplied and devised by the FIA through a license that they have with the FIA. But they could still theoretically hold the exact same open wheel racing series and call it something else. This is all amidst these Mohammed bin Suleiman, who's the head of the FIA, has earlier in the season had to step back from day-to-day involvement with Formula One after repeatedly creating scandals with his actions and his remarks. And so change is going to have to come, and the teams right now seem like they have the leverage to force that change to happen. Remains to be seen what that's going to be. Kenny, back to you.
Wow. I would say that was a mouthful, but we're about to talk about anime as soon as we're done here. So if you want to talk about Guga, that was some racing Guga. For me, I'm going to talk about one of our former sponsors on the big broadcast, which of course was the NBA in-season tournament. This thing has been electric. We had the semifinals last night. The winner of the Eastern Conference, the Indiana Pacers played the Milwaukee Bucks. The upstart Pacers beat the Milwaukee Bucks. And then in the West, we had the Lakers versus the upstart New Orleans Pelicans. And the Pelicans never made it off the bus because they lost by 40 plus points. The Lakers went absolutely ballistic on them. And the thing that's so great about this in-season tournament is the fact that it has been a huge success to the point where now Major League Baseball is talking about doing some sort of in-season tournament. I mean, that's all due to the fact that the players are taking it very seriously. LeBron James has made it, you can watch it. It's palpable. When the Lakers play an in-season tournament game, how hard that man is trying. And then when he's playing a normal game in December that is not part of the in-season tournament, he's like, okay, maybe I'll take a couple plays off. But it's fun to watch people going all in games in December. It's great. The championship game is tomorrow. I believe it's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time, and I'll be watching.
Fantastic. Hey, why can't the Lakers wear their black jersey? I read that this morning. What's the deal there?
I don't know anything about that. I know that they had specific jerseys that the home team wore when they were in the in-season tournament. They were hosting a game, and then now because the games are in neutral site, the games are being played in Vegas, so it's not being played in someone's home gym. Maybe that's why. I don't know why. Somebody look it up and tell me later. Anyway,
get on that, Kenny.
Something I don't want to hear about later is who is our sponsor for this week. We had the NBA in-season tournament a couple of weeks ago. They were sponsoring. I got to know who's sponsoring our show today, Alex.
It's a new religious organization. It's
oh no,
it's the First Church of the Big One. You know who. They want you to come on out. It's the First Church of the Big One. You know who. It's not just a church, but it is. Make time for the big one in the sky with us next time. You know who we mean. It's a no press hang sesh with the one who loves you best. And that's, of course, and then it says ... and then Winter Carnival. So that's the First Church of the Big One. You know who.
You know who, and they're having a Winter Carnival.
Yeah, the Winter Carnival's coming.
Fantastic. I feel like there's going to be some more revealed about that church as we make our way through the big broadcast, but we'll see.
It may happen.
I do love a super chill hang like this. You me?
There, I had that same thing again where you lagged and then a bunch of gibberish to catch up. So I have no idea what you just said.
Incredible. I was just saying that I revealed the truest meaning of life. No, I was just saying that I like to think that our show is like a super chill hang sesh. So
it's a no press hang sesh. Yeah.
No press hang sesh. Fantastic. And speaking of no press, we're having a no press discussion about anime. This is where we are now. That's why the title of the show is called Fandom Ball Z. I think it's because that lakes that have black water are probably polluted and we can't have that. I don't know what that is a reference to, but do you know what that's a reference to?
Just generally man's killing the earth.
Yeah, got it. So Lakers jerseys. Ah, yes. Well done. Thank you very much. I know that everybody who's not a Laker fan hates the Lakers. I'm very aware of it. So the reason why we are hitting up anime is because, one, there's not a big piece of IP that we can talk about this week. But two, for whatever reason, in the past month and a half, since I got COVID and was stuck to this very room that we're in right now that I'm recording, I decided to go on I was like, you know what? I'm going to get I got an email about a free trial for Crunchyroll. I went down the rabbit hole and I have just been pouring through anime over the past month and a half, watching all kinds of messy stuff, some of it good, some of it not good. And Alex and I have been talking about it over the past couple of weeks. And then Alex was like, why don't we just like do a show? We'll each have 3 recommendations of shows that we're kind of recommending to each other, or movies to each other and the viewing audience. And that's what we're going to do. You have 3, I have 3. Do you want to go first? Or I can go first.
I'll go first.
Way. Yeah, you go first. Why don't you go first? What do you hit us off with?
I'm going to start.
Do we need to give any sort of like primers to like I think we did this when we talked about Knights of the Zodiac, but like kind of like our relationship. Like, what's your relationship to anime?
I've dabbled in watching it off and on. It's also something I wanted to say too about anime. It's not a monolith. There's so many different offerings within it that, anime, I think broadly referring to animation from Japan, but there's not a lot that you can pin that they all kind of ubiquitously share beyond coming from that one place. There's some stylistic things that you can sort of see, but I think that the different offerings are so varied that it warrants, if you're interested, it does warrant deeper sort of investigation.
That's some of the things I was going to touch on too with some of my choices, but I was genuinely surprised when I was kind of pouring through Crunchyroll, is that it's true. This sounds so like company line because they are owned by Sony. There is truly something for everyone. Like there is not like if you want like super fantasy, like Final Fantasy, real Gugai stuff, it's there. If you want just like a traditional kind of like family sitcom, it's there. Like there is
a soap opera about a basketball team.
Yes, there is stuff for the perverts. Like it's all there. It's all there.
You want to see a tentacle get shoved up somebody?
No, I don't know about that. We're not talking hentai, but I'm talking that I'll talk about it briefly and when I'm talking about things, but why don't you go first?
Well, I'll start off with something that I think is, if you have any interest in the genre, which is like calling animation itself a genre, but one of the kind of classics of the form, which is Akira from 1989 or 1988. Just briefly, the synopsis. It's a 1988 Japanese animated cyberpunk action film directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, produced by Ryohei Suzuki and Shunzo Kato, and written by Otomo and Iso Hashimoto, based on Otomo's 1982 manga of the same name. And of course, manga is Japanese comic books, which, like animation, they produce comic books about just in any genre. It's a very, very popular form of media over there. So the plot is it's a dystopian 2019. It tells the story of Shotaro Kaneda, the leader of a biker gang whose childhood friend, Tetsuo Shima, acquires incredible telekinetic abilities after a motorcycle accident, eventually threatening an entire military complex amid chaos and rebellion in the sprawling futuristic metropolis of Neo Tokyo. And this movie is one of the most referenced animated movies ever produced. You can see Akira motorcycle supercuts. It is one of the things that this current wave of anime, I guess, fandom and affinity that people are experiencing, a lot of it has its roots in Akira, uh, because before Akira, really culturally, I think in America, people equated Japanese animation with stuff like Speed Racer, sort of on the
Yeah,
hokier
or like
side and the bad dubs.
Robotech, yeah, bad dubbing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Battle of the Planets, these kinds of things, which are, the animation is cool, but the dialogue and the dubbing is a little hokey. And Akira comes through and it's got something to say. It presents a really compelling picture of the future. It is very, it's Blade Runner through the Japanese lens a little bit,
It's a great
talking
comp.
about questions of humanity. The animation is insanely detailed. If you've not seen Akira, you've probably never seen anything like it. Even today,
Yeah,
there's hand drawn backgrounds that have millions of points in them, representing windows and lights and stuff. It's a feat of filmmaking overall, but especially if anything animated coming out of Japan, that's a foundational kind of movie.
I love this. Yeah, it's the kind of thing that I remember because I'm old when this movie came out in the 80s, late 80s, and then they kept bringing it back to theaters. Like this thing was something that would go away and then come back and they would do like another release. And it was one of these few things that came over to the States where it was like, this is not your normal experience with Japanese animation. This is a feature film that is telling a very compelling story and the reason why it's so compelling and the reason why this is such a kind of great way to start this conversation is Hollywood has tried to remake this into like a live action movie for years. I mean, as long as it's been a popular anime, and they've never been able to do it ever.
Since I've been reading, behind the scenes, like Ain't It Cool News stuff. So it's been like over 20 years that it's a cycle. Every 2 years, somebody's attached to direct Akira. Like I think Jordan Peele was attached to direct it at one point.
Every single person, like I'm sure Scarlett Johansson was attached. Oh boy. Just look that up. Look up Scarlett Johansson, Ghost in the Shell to really get a sense of that joke.
And just watch me right now.
Oh my
on
God.
Fan Controlled Fandom. Hi, I'm Alex Enriquez, and I've taken over the broadcast to tell you a little bit about Rogaine. Rogaine with minoxidil.
I don't know what the heck happened there. I just got something telling me that like something is working too hard on my computer, and I just went away. I could hear everything you were saying, though. The Rogaine commercial was quite good.
Thank you very much. It's a product I believe in.
I got to tell you right now, this is not any sort of this shirt that I'm wearing is like a blanket, and it's incredibly warm, and my house is always very cold. I'm getting a little hot, so I'm just taking it off. I'm wearing a shirt underneath, but yep, this is it. This is the content. No, so yeah, we live in a world where Dennis Villanueva was able to
Danny Quesadilla
was able to take one of the quote unquote unfilmable books, which is Dune, and made it into a great movie. There's another movie coming. He's already talking about making a third one. Lord of the Rings was a thing that was supposedly impossible. They have never been able to make Akira ever. They have tried in every which way. And that just goes to show you the quality and the specificity of this movie. It is such a good film, and it is truly unlike anything you'll see. It is, and it's even when watching it, it's wild to think that they've never been able to make it into a live action film, but they've never been able to make it into a live action film, and they've sure as hell tried.
And I'm glad, it's something that kind of doesn't need that. It doesn't need any kind of anything shadowing it like that. It's a real, it's up there in movies you should see, I think.
I think 100%. I 100% agree with you, and I love that you started here because I am not going anywhere near that with my. I'm not going with like tent poles where you should start, because that's what Akira really is. It's really like if you want to find a way into some of this stuff, it's a great way into it. It's a movie. I know a lot of us, me having 2 hours to carve out to watch something is a mighty ask nowadays, which is a hysterical phenomenon. I love when it's always like, I can't watch a movie, but I'll watch 4 episodes of television.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's because, like, what you can't do is sit and pay attention to the same thing progressing over 2 hours, but something cut up into 20-minute pieces, the beginning of which will always have a little recap of what happened before, is
that
something you can sort of have in the background.
I always see it as like, I feel like, to me, like television watching is like, I gotta tick boxes, baby. And it's like, I've got several episodes of things to watch. I could watch 3 different episodes of something and tick those boxes, or if I watch one movie and then all those boxes, it's tough. Anyway, that's just my own personal mental health issues. For me,
thank you for sharing that.
You're
welcome.
Thank
you for your openness.
I listed, before I give my first choice, I listed 3 things that I wanted to call out because that I didn't want to go too deep on for your sake. These are my scary options.
Okay.
Because I know you are not going to want any part of any of these. These are one of them I will just give a shout out to. It's just called Demon Slayer, a wonderful, wonderful television show that involves people slaying demons. But one of them is the first human who is somehow been bitten by a monster. They kind of become zombies, and she hasn't fully turned because of the love that exists between her and her brother. Fantastic. Jujutsu Kaisen is another scary, and it is a goofy concept where a man is able to stop a demon attacking by swallowing a piece of another demon, specifically its finger. He then becomes a vessel for that demon, and in order to stay alive, he has to go and collect other pieces of that demon and eat it. Amazing, amazing show. And then I will say one more scary is probably my favorite, which is Chainsaw Man, which I don't know if you're aware of this one. It is basically like a lot of demon stuff in this, which is why I know it falls into scary. Guy has a demon kind of dog as a friend. That dog has a chainsaw for a nose. That dog gets murdered and then melds with, as that dog and the owner are kind of shot up and are dying. The dog melds with his owner, and then there's a little cord. The dog's tail is a cord to start the chainsaw. Anytime that guy pulls the cord that's now in his chest, chainsaws come out of his hands and his head becomes a chainsaw. And he's literally Chainsaw Man. It's fantastic. So those
Wonderful.
are ones. Those are ones that if you're not Alex, you would probably enjoy watching. But I left those out. But for my first thing, I will actually talk about is I am listing this as a show that I think is a good entry point if you're somebody who likes some of the other content that we talk about on this show. This seems like a good quiz show idea. Explain a concept the other person decide if it's a real anime or made up. I think that could very well be next. Is that going to be today's game?
You did that last week.
I did know two games ago. I did. Is this a real show or not?
Yes.
I read real names of shows that are real, and then
I'm a vending machine, and now I have to wander a dungeon with slime.
Yeah, I came back to Earth as a slime, I think, is a show. For my first pick, so this is a show that is, like I said, it's a good kind of entry point if you like superhero stuff. This is a show called My Hero Academia. I don't know if you've watched this show yet, Alex, or not.
I have not watched it, but I've heard the name.
Yes, this is a popular show. There was a movie that Crunchyroll distributed, I believe, in 2021. That was one of their first U.S. distribution films they distributed. This is a TV show about a world where 80% of the human population has gained the ability to develop superpowers, which they call quirks. So it's kind of like a little bit like a X-Men kind of thing. But what it is really is kind of like Captain America. but not obviously America. We're talking about Japan. And there is a character in the show whose name is Izuku, and it's almost the same origin story as Captain America. He is this person who is smaller than everybody, scrawny. He has dreamed of being able to have superpowers, to be a superhero. His parents, he's Captain Japan, exactly. He his parents both have powers. He does not get any powers, and all of his friends have them. And all he wants to do is go to somehow, hopefully, hope that he gets powers, so that he can go to this school, which is a school for superheroes, hence the title My Hero Academia. And then there is a kind of a Captain America type character whose name is All Might. He's kind of like a fusion of Captain America and Superman. And he is this kind of like, square jawed, like big, bright smile. And we got lost again. Amazing.
Minoxidil, the active ingredient in Rogaine, has been proven safe and effective by millions of men over 50 years since its introduction in the market. You may expect to.
Can you hear me?
20%. I can hear you just perfectly fine.
It's my camera's just stopped working. Incredible. Let me try one more time. Here we go. Here it comes, starting camera.
Here he is. He came back to life.
Anyway, so this guy, All Might, he is basically like Captain America meets Superman. He's the superhero of all superheroes. We learn there's a secret about him, and he is able to actually potentially give Izuku a quirk. And that's basically the concept of the show. And he eventually gets into this school, and it's about the reason why I say it's very much like Captain America is because he has that kind of thing that Captain America has, where, I will sacrifice myself because it's what I should do, not because it's what I want to do. And he has that kind of peace in him. And so that's kind of what is exploited throughout the course of the show. But, as somebody who wasn't born with a quirk, him getting one, there's some stuff there. It's just a really cool show. But it's, if you're somebody who is into superhero stuff, into kind of like The Boys, it's not as dirty as The Boys, but it's like that kind of look into a world where superheroes are more ingrained into our society. That's the show for you. I love it. It's a great show.
I think that superheroes are for nerds.
Oh, that was a big right turn. I did not know we were going there. Somebody who is constantly referencing all of the DC universe and the Justice Society, and which is a society of superheroes. Just so I'm saying,
it's for nerds.
Speaking to two nerds here on this broadcast. Yeah, I think you've probably seen images, especially of All Might. He's got like two weird like V's in his hair that just shoot straight up, which I'm assuming is achieved via gel. But it's just a fun show. There's every kind of possible kind of super quirk exists. There's like a guy who's got super speed. There's a guy who can throw fireballs. There's somebody who can grow big. There's somebody who can, everything she touches can float. It's just a fun show about the development. Like if there was a way to develop a superhero, this is how it is.
I've heard of that show for years, and I've definitely always wanted to check it out. But like I said, superheroes are for nerds, so I don't.
Okay, well, great. Well, then what's your second pick?
My second pick is a little foundational as well, but it's something for the whole family, and it's a great way into a vertical unto himself within animation. So that movie is Spirited Away, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki for Studio Ghibli. Tells the story of Chihiro Ojino, a 10-year-old girl who, while moving to a new neighborhood, enters the world of kami, spirits of Japanese Shinto folklore. After her parents are turned into pigs by the witch Yubaba, Chihiro takes a job working in Yubaba's bathhouse to find a way to free herself and her parents and return to the human world, as you do. It's
simple, very simple plot.
Work a day, slice of life. It is one of Miyazaki's towering achievements. I think
incredible.
To this day is maybe like the third or fourth highest grossing film in Japan of all time. I think the other ones above it are also Miyazaki movies. The imagination behind everything, the world building that's involved, the style of everything, it's incredible. I mean, it's one of the best animated movies ever made. Hayao Miyazaki is such an incredible artist, in every sense.
He is. And a peek behind the curtain of the sausage. We initially had talked about going to see the new Miyazaki movie, but then you said you had to go see it with somebody. I had to take my kid to go see it because we are big fans of Miyazaki in our house as well. For those who don't know, the people who founded Pixar, they state that a lot of their storytelling, and John Lasseter, who is a name we should not talk about anymore, but he did make a lot of Pixar movies, but they attribute a lot of their storytelling to Miyazaki. So that is like you can see the kind of DNA of what makes Pixar work when you watch a Miyazaki movie. It's just done better.
It really is. I mean, and also his stuff tends to be things like you said, you're going to take your daughter. It's stuff that it's family accessible. They're not kids movies per se, although, Ponyo and Totoro and Pompoko are kids movies by Miyazaki, or more kiddie movies. They're big, thoughtful movies that have points, but you can still take your kids, and you can, as an adult, you can get something out of them too. Spirited Away is, it's like Akira. It's something that I revisit pretty frequently as well. And those Pixar guys, by the way, John Lasseter is one of the big reasons Miyazaki has the presence in the States that he does, because he was the one that I think he was part of getting Buena Vista Home Entertainment in on re-releasing the movies, distributing them in America. And then the voice casts of the Miyazaki movies, like they have some of the best voice casts of any Japanese dubs.
Yeah, there's that whole, and even with the one that's coming out right now, there's like Florence Pugh, and I don't know. I only saw Florence. Once I see Florence Pugh's name, I'm fully distracted. But I know there's other people in it in the most recent movie.
Once I see Florence Pugh, you know what I say to everybody else? P.U.
Exactly. Miyazaki too is kind of the reason why I started watching. Like, I was bored in my room and I'll watch, because when HBO Max dropped during lockdown, there is a whole Studio Ghibli hub that was there on the platform. And so we just started watching a ton of Miyazaki. And the thing that's so great about him, and Spirited Away is probably one of the more, if you had to give it a rating, I think it's actually PG-13, because it does have a little bit of but still, we watched it. But there's things like Kiki's Delivery Service and My Neighbor Totoro. These are movies, as a parent, I'll give it from the parent perspective. A lot of times, like, animated stuff is very clearly for the kids, and they try to advertise it as like, oh, but there's jokes in there for the adults. Like, I'm and I know this is a controversial take. I do not care for the Shrek films, and I will, till the day I'm dead, I'm not a fan. I don't think those movies have any jokes for adults. I don't feel like kids stuff should be like fully centered around farts as like the number one joke. I feel like we don't have to talk down to kids. I feel like we can tell them stories that we can all enjoy. I think of movies like Coco. I think of movies like Encanto that Disney makes. But then the thing about Miyazaki is they are movies that your kid will get a ton of stuff out of, but you can get a ton of stuff out of too, because it's just good storytelling that is grounded in character and has the right amount of fantasy, of interest, and things that you have never seen before. There is a cat that literally turns into a bus that they ride in My Neighbor Totoro, and it's like, you can't think of this stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm the things that you're treated to in Spirited Away as well, along those same lines. This bathhouse that the main character works in is like all these different spirits and gods, exist there, and it's a visual treat. Like, the movie is gorgeous. His stuff has a real beauty to it. So yeah, Spirited Away, get that one on your Max.
I love it. Get it on your Max. All right. So when I was putting this list together, I was like trying to think of something that would be not necessarily an entry point for you, but there is an entry point for you. But I'm thinking of the fans. This is fan controlled fandom. And there's that word, the only word you hear twice in that title is fan. So I'm trying to think of you all. And the thing that I was surprised when I was pouring into different categories of things, when I started watching more and more anime, was that sports. There is an anime for every possible sport. Sometimes multiple animes for sports. Football, rugby, cycling. There are multiple basketball shows. There is a show about badminton. There is a show about open wheel racing, Alex. It's called Overtake. Check it out.
The hell you say?
I'm telling you, yes, it's called Overtake. All of these shows not only treat the sports very seriously. I can't imagine a show about badminton. Badminton would be very compelling, but I'm sure it is, because one show that was recommended to me was a show called High Q. It's about volleyball, and this is a extremely popular show. Anime. If you go into any anime store, you will see like haiku characters are on the walls, and people are displaying them. The reason why this show works very well and why volleyball translates very well to anime is because if you imagine the way that like anime treats like high flying kicks and slow motion punches, and then translate that to someone trying to jump and spike a volleyball, it's like the same kind of movements and they treat it the same way. And it's just, I had no, like, it's like, wow, they've really found a way to make a sport that I already love, to make it seem like super dramatic and then compelling. And they treat it as such. And it's all based like anything else in characters. There is another volleyball show on Crackle that's a little too Crunchyroll. Don't go on a Crackle, you'll never find it. That is a little too melodramatic for my taste. But this show is super fun. It's just about a kid from a small town. There aren't like, you're right, there isn't like set kind of things applicable to anime in general. But this is a storytelling thing. A lot of the things that I'm recommending do involve somebody who is like from a small town or like the underdog and wants to succeed. And that's basically this, this guy lives in a town where there is no volleyball team. He has to like beg, he has to get 5 other people to go to his school just so he could try to enter a tournament. And it's just a plucky show about volleyball. It's really, but if you have a sport interest, there is an anime for you. That's what that was the point of this pick.
I love that. I'm going to check out Overtake. I can imagine it in my head what it's going to look like.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's like, there's going to be a romance. There's going to be somebody. And the one thing I will say, this is my one criticism of anime. And if I would love to see a little more a main character in their 30s or 40s. That's my only criticism. Every character is either somewhere between 13 and 16 years old in every single thing that's out there. That's my only criticism.
That's true. It's very youth oriented.
But then it's not like it is and it isn't. Like, Demon Slayer, I mentioned it, they're kids, but there is a lot of blood and gore in that. So I don't know it's not for 13-year-olds, that's for sure.
I'm gonna, I like the idea that there's so many anime about sports that you have a preferred volleyball anime.
Yeah. But this particular one that I'm recommending is actually like a popular show. Like it's also like you'll be able, if you get interested in it, you'll be able to find, there is manga for it. You can buy crap from it. Like, the thing about anime is there is plenty of swag that exists out there in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Go to Little Tokyo and have a ball and open the ball and find a figurine of your character inside.
Exactly. All right. What's your third pick?
So my third pick, this is an introduction, I think, for you, also for the fans. This is a TV series based on a manga called One Punch Man.
Oh yes, I do want to check this out.
So there are certain tropes in some kinds of anime, some of the popular kinds of anime, silly things like the people that are fighting each other will wait until one of them builds up power enough to fight, all these different like things. And some of the sillier aspects of popular anime, One Punch Man is a satire basically of those things, while also executing all of the good points of those popular anime at a very high level. The animation is incredible, very, very highly stylized. The action scenes are completely overwrought and wild.
Love it.
Just as a brief, so it's a supercontinent version of Earth, and there's powerful monsters and supervillains wreaking havoc. There's a superhero association that has these different levels of hero. There's this bald-headed 25-year-old man named Saitama who is bored of fighting because he's able to effortlessly defeat enemies with a single punch. 3 years prior to the start of the series, when he still had hair, he was out job hunting and he defeated the powerful supervillain Krablante because Krablante tried to kill a child who had a butt chin. This is literally true. It's so wild that I was watching that episode and I'm like, did I miss something? Were there 3 episodes before this that I didn't see? No, the kid just has a butt chin. You never see him again. But Saitama gets this superpower. He has a daily training regimen of 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, a 10-kilometer run. He eats healthy food and abstains from using the air conditioner or heater in order to reinforce his mental fortitude. He also trains even when his body is wounded, and he trained even though his body made strange cracking sounds. But there are episodes where he doesn't get into a fight until the supervillain interrupts him getting to the supermarket to get a deal. There's an episode where he's trying to kill a mosquito the entire time in his apartment.
It's like Breaking Bad. It's like Breaking Bad at that point.
Yes, yeah, but then the next episode they'll show this monster, probably killing millions of people as it wipes out an entire city, and then Saitama will find a way to just punch it once and send it into the stratosphere. And it's very silly, but it's incredibly animated, and it's really, really fun, and it's genuinely funny. Like it is trying to be funny.
It's been recommended to me so many times, and it's not available on Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll has some of the movies. It's on Hulu, because I want to make sure people can find things when we're looking. It is on Hulu, and yeah, I just got to start it. I've heard nothing but great things. I love it.
It's so much fun.
One Punch Man, I'm very much here for it. I love that your pick is a fun one, because my pick is a fun one, and I've already my last one. I've already kind of mentioned it on this show in other capacities, and that is the original 1980s Saint Seiya Knights of the Zodiac anime. It first premiered in October of 1986, and it's the same. It's based on the manga. It's the same arc of the movie that we talked about on the big broadcast. It's basically this world where there are Knights of the Zodiac. Each of the Zodiac was in, but you get more of the manga story, which is these kids, like stormtroopers, kids were plucked from orphanages that had an aptitude to potentially become, they had an aptitude for like fighting skills. They were then each sent to different parts of the world to train. And if they did well in their training, they would earn their cloth, which is an insane thing to say because there's nothing cloth related about it at all. It is armor. They get armor, and then their armor is based on certain constellations / zodiac signs, which the main character Seiya is Pegasus, which is not a well-known constellation, or Knight of the Zodiac. But the reason why I am recommending this show is not for the story, although the story is, I mean, as silly as it gets. I'm recommending this show because the thing that's great about anime and I've been loving about anime is this is the show that if you grew up, like when you grew up, there is a show that reminds you so much of your childhood. Like whether or not you watched anime as a kid, Saint Seiya looks like G.I. Joe because G.I. Joe was probably made in Japan.
Right. It was animated by studios in Japan.
Yeah. So it looks like G.I. Joe. So it's like that level of animation, but it is like so 80s-tastic. There is like hot guitar licks for every, like the theme song. This is another thing I want to say that's consistent about anime. I meant to mention this earlier. Is that one of the things that is pretty consistent no matter what you're watching is you get cold open for about a minute and a half, and then you cut to like a full 2-minute song that is the theme song to the show. And it is either usually like a love song, even though when it's like you're watching like Chainsaw Man or Demon Slayer, it is like a love song, or it is a power ballad. And it is like a hard, like power ballad. And the power ballad that plays before Saint Seiya is like a huge hit in Japan. Just go to YouTube and just type in, I don't think like for music rights purposes, I would just take it there and we would watch it, but I can't imagine that that's clear to use. So we're not going to do that. But and it's not just like the hot licks on the guitar riffs. It's like the like ba-da-ba-da-bum, 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 like those are like the fight scenes. It sounds like disco music from the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
And that's what it is consistently. You get all the like kind of flying through the air kicks, punches, where it's like they've only really animated like one thing in the frame and they're just kind of moving it across the frame. It's so nostalgic to all the shows that I did watch, like Transformers, G.I. Joe. These were shows that were 100% animated in Japan. And it's like that, but it's a totally different story. And it's a super silly show, and it's just fun to watch. It is super melodramatic. It's just and it's only a 20-minute hang, and I love it. It's absolutely a silly time, and in a time when before, like you'd mentioned One Punch Man, I think it's probably directly a show that it's like referencing, and they've updated it. They've made like 4 or 5 different newer series, all of which are available on Crunchyroll. But I'm talking about the original Saint Seiya Knights of the Zodiac. That's my final recommendation.
I love it. Can I make one honorable mention?
I have one honorable mention too, but go ahead. Yes.
You want to talk about power ballad theme song, the famous Dragon Ball Z series?
Yes.
That in terms of an honorable mention, the entire Dragon Ball franchise, if you want to dive into that, you've got like 30 years of watching.
They're still making it. There is a current show that is currently releasing episodes in Japan that you can get in the States. If you've got Crunchyroll Premium, you can watch it like day and date, which is like 30 plus years. That's the thing too about anime. Strap in. A lot of these one season, it could be like 47 episodes, right, or it might be like 6 seasons and 195 episodes of things. Like there's plenty of it. That's for sure.
And with Dragon Ball, 30 of the episodes in that 100 episode season will be Goku charging up.
Yep.
I've got to channel my spirit bomb.
Yeah, that's the thing too I love about Saint Seiya is that everybody talks like this. Everybody is talking like this. There is no level in anyone's voice. Seiya, when are you going to come over here? What do you mean? I'm over here now. Bring me the cloth. No, like that's just the whole show. It's like that for like everyone shouting for like a half hour. It's just great. There's no nuance. It is just, oh my God, no, he's gonna hurt him. No, ah.
I love the old Speed Racer. Oh,
yeah. Oh. I love it. Here's my one, and this is I'm going to preface this with the grainiest of salts to say that because I've watched shows that are deemed mature on Crunchyroll, like Chainsaw Man, like Jujutsu Kaisen, like Psycho Pass, these are shows that are considered adult because of the violence. But because of that, it recommends to me other shows. And so if you are a weirdo, there is a show that was recommended to me that I was like, oh, I'll check it out. It's called Prison School. And this thing, when I started watching it, I was like, oh, this is that thing. Like when you were wondering if that's easy to access that kind of anime, you can't get like that anime, but you can get pretty close to it. And I will just say that it is very horny. That's all I'll say. And I was shocked to be like, oh, this is, because it kept recommending it to me. I'm like, you keep recommending this show, Prison School. Oh, I'll check it out. And then about 2 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is that kind of show. Okay. It's very funny. It's a funny show. It's like on par with like, but it's like, it's horny. It's like 80s horny. It's like on par with like Porky's, like teenage guys wanted to see boobs. Like that's it. And it's actually very funny and it's well written, but it is also like, whoops, like what? Make sure you're home alone when you watch this.
I'm 80s horny because anytime a hot babe walks by me, I push down my sunglasses. So.
It is on the cusp of that. It is, and there is some stuff that goes on in it that I'm just like, oh boy, I'm gonna
put that damn show on right now.
This is written in the 2022. Okay, there's some choices being made. Some choices being made that if it was.
I've 87. Oh, there we go.
2023. I don't know. I know I've had some very spotty service today, and I thank the good people at Spectrum for the excellent internet throughout the entire show today. Alex, do you have another ad read from that church?
I do. It's the first church of the big one. You know who? They want you to sail your ship with worship of the big one. It's a church like no other, but it is also pretty much the same church as the old one. There's music songs for the big one, band singing for the big one, and pray for the big one. Some churches say no fat chicks, but we say yes. Yes, fat chicks. Kids eat free. So that's the first church of the big one. You know who.
What church says no fat chicks?
Some churches, they say no fat chicks.
I have to tell you.
This is one that says yes, fat chicks.
When I had a job at a grad school and I was driving across the country doing mobile marketing events at college football games, I would often stop in like little truck stops, and it always amazed me that, you know, a big ticket item was the bumper sticker that said no fat chicks. I didn't realize we were like really a country that really had to drive that home to anybody who's like seeing that on a car. I just want to say, you know, your body is beautiful, whatever you are, but I find it very weird that's just like a no fat chicks.
Well, you know what? Keep that in your mind as you look up the theories behind the statistics around the unleading of gas.
Okay, I will. I will think that up. I will think that up. It's right next to your truck nuts. There's which is another thing. Why would you put a scrotum on your truck? Anywho,
because the truck's a dick. Can I say that on Twitch? Sorry, pardon my crotch.
I think what you just did. Let's just breeze past it and say what time it is now.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what time it is?
I do.
Here we go.
You got it.
No, I didn't. That was all Jess. Jess made it so it only plays once. Isn't that great?
Oh, that's cool. I love it.
Thank you, Ruthless Cutie, for the win.
Thank you.
All right, what's the game you're playing? You made it. I'm playing. What are we playing this week?
The game this week is Hit Me With Your Best Shot, the hero weakness game. So
okay. I love it.
I'm gonna read you the name of a hero, and then I'm gonna read you 3 things that might be that hero's weakness. You're gonna have to pick the one that's the correct answer. Okay, so the first one's kind of a gimme. Okay. So Superman, is it kryptonite, magic, or both?
Well, I know it's kryptonite, but I know there's some goofy stuff with like Mixelplix and that kind of stuff. I'm gonna say both.
That's true, and it's Mxyzptlk, the imp from the 5th dimension. Yep. The next question: Green Lantern, is it nth metal, vibranium, or the color yellow?
Well, I know vibranium is not. That's Wakanda for no. That's the steel that vibranium. That's Wakanda. Anyway, I'm gonna say nth metal.
Incorrect. The correct answer is the color yellow.
Oh, okay.
Green Lantern is the right answer. Wood, hard light, or a great deal?
A great deal.
No, it's wood. Of course, I'm referring to the Golden Age original Green Lantern from the late 30s.
Got
No,
it.
Venom. Is it the gem of Cyttorak, ultrasonic frequencies, or intellectual property mismanagement?
Is this the Topher Grace Venom?
Just overall, and where I see it going.
Hey, it's me, Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I'm gonna say it's the last one.
No, it's ultrasonic frequencies.
Okay.
So Martian Manhunter.
Okay.
Is his weakness fire, water, or twins?
Oh my god. And twins. That was a thing.
Yeah, man.
That was like such a thing that it was like a joke in one of the Scary Movies like franchise. Like, oh god.
So is it fire, water, or twins? And I lost you again.
That was like a world where we lived in when there was like 4 channels. It's water. Now I'm back. Hello.
Martian Manhunter's weakness is fire, actually. Sorry, it's fire.
This has been a broadcast for the ages in terms of technology working.
Well, we only have one more question in
Great.
Hit Me With Your Best Shot, the hero weakness game. Green Arrow. Is it a karate chop to the throat, a flick to the nards, bullet, or all of the above and literally anything because he's just a dude?
The last one.
Yes, that's true. You are correct. And that was Hit Me With Your Best Shot, the ultimate hero weakness game.
I love when characters
happening again.
Characters like Green Arrow. Okay. There we go. I can see you.
What's happening? Because I can't really see what's going on the feed. Your audio just cuts, and then it'll be like a good, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds of silence, and then your audio will start again and be really, really fast, almost to the point of gibberish, but I won't know if I can catch up. Anyway, that was...
Can you see me now? Can you see me now?
You're seeing and hearing.
Golly, his CD is skipping. That's what it seems like. I don't know what's happening over in my house right now, but I was just trying to say that I don't know who came first between Green Arrow and Hawkeye, but it's like either the DC version of Hawkeye or the Marvel version of Green Arrow, but they're basically the same thing.
Green Arrow was first. Green Arrow was created in the Golden Age of comics. There's a Golden Age version of him
where he's just like, there's Superman, he can fly and he can stop bullets. Batman is a billionaire who's got all kinds of money to all kinds of gadgets. This guy can shoot arrows.
Yeah. You weren't expecting that, were you? Bang, bang, bang. Hey, you shot me dead.
Surprisingly, my arrows couldn't pierce your bullets.
I love Green Arrow. I love the character. It is silly.
Yeah, he
used to drive an arrow car, and he used to have an aeroplane.
Oh, praise her. Before a couple more things before we get out of here. First, this is our time of the show. We do our Hoopla recommendation. Thanks. Can you see me now?
You just came back, yeah.
Oh, almighty, we got to get out of here before my entire internet explodes. You put in your library. I'm so disappointed in my internet.
It's really bad. I don't know if is it me?
No, it's me. I keep getting messages saying my internet's unstable and I don't know how to make it stable.
Try shaking it really hard.
I'm going to blow on it real quick. Why don't you give your Hoopla recommendation?
My Hoopla recommendation, actually, let me pull it up real quick. There's a series of like alternate reality comic books that DC has done called Earth One, I think they're called. They've done these. It's a retelling of origins with new modern teams and all that, or modern creative teams. They've done Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, and I'm reading volume 2 of the Green Lantern series that they did, and it's really fun. It's just interesting to get a different creative team's take on what these power sets mean, what the origins mean. The
Hal
Green
Jordan or
Lantern-
John Stewart?
Hal Jordan. Actually, John Stewart is in volume 2. He's
we
not
go.
a Green Lantern yet, but Hal Jordan is the Green Lantern in these stories.
It's like Alex is on a show with a wet robot. Is that how I sound?
Yeah. That's got to be the next time you're introduced anywhere. You got to be Kenny the Wet Robot Stevenson.
Yeah, and the wet robot himself, Kenny Stevenson. My recommendation, I recommended this last week, but I'm still pouring through them. I'm loving the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off show on Netflix. I'm going through one at a time because I want to cherish it because I'm almost done. But I have been going through the original Scott Pilgrim's comics. I finished volume 1 last week, which is Scott Pilgrim's Pretty Little Life. I'm now on volume 2, which is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the title of the movie. Just really enjoy this comic. If you like the movie, if you like the TV show, it's just really fun it's drawn the same way. The TV show is drawn like the comic. It's really fun. I love it. We have one more ad read about the big one.
Yes, that's true. The First Church of the Big One, you know who, and they want you to remember the reason for the season. Your daddy in the clouds. Make sure you're on his good side by eating all your lemons here on his birth night. And now, through the end of the year, take advantage of our POGO, that's Pray One, Get One offer, where your prayers are half off. Now that's savings. Prayer Hands Spring Carnival.
What? Why is he going to eat all your lemons?
No, you eat lemons for him at their church.
The big one. You know who?
Yeah. Daddy in the clouds.
I feel like we don't know who, but it's fine. This is the point of the show before we get out of here what did our dogs think? What do your dogs think of anime?
My dogs are generally interested in anime. It seems very digestible to them. I think they vibe with it a little more deeply than Western cultural offerings. And I'm going to have to examine that with them. I really don't. I don't know why.
And you don't even have a dog like Hachiko. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
You know the Hachiko. You know the story.
The
about
train
Hachiko.
Station dog, right?
Yes. The dog that waited even after its owner died. It went there every day. What an incredible story. Just Google Hachiko. And there's a movie produced by Sony. Don't watch it, but because it's not as good, but the story is fantastic. Anywho, my dog is somewhat engaged. She, we talk about how she won't even come into the living room sometimes when I'm watching content. She's normally there when I'm watching anime. So I think she's kind of into it. I think she likes to see, she likes fantasy. She likes things that are stepping outside of the traditional realm of storytelling. And she also loves a hot guitar lick. So she loves when I'm watching that Saint Seiya Knights of the Zodiac. Amazing. We did it.
We always do it, man.
This is I'm gonna do it with I'm gonna just give you a brief using just my voice. It goes like this. Bow now 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 now. Saint Seiya. It's fantastic.
Oh man, I'm gonna have all these on at once. I'm gonna have the Saint Seiya going on my iPad. I'm gonna have
Prison School
going on the big TV. Watching Dragon Ball, just the theme song of Dragon Ball Z going over and over and over again. It's called
fantastic.
Head Chala because in the chorus the guy goes Head Chala.
Yeah, as one is ought to do. Okay, where before my internet crashes completely, Alex, where can the folks find you?
You can find me at Duke_Midnight, MIDNITE, as it says above my very head on the screen. You can find me on all social platforms and wherever major magazines are sold.
And just as it's my turn, I crashed again. There we go. Am I back? Here we go. And
here you are.
See me? Fantastic. Let's get this before everything explodes. You can find me at Kenny G. Stevenson on Twitch and TikTok, Kenny G. Donut King on Instagram and Threads. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, you can see me in person at the Impro Theater tonight at 9:30. While I'll be doing a show called Over There. It is a fully improvised World War II story. We had our opening last week. It was a lot of fun. It's fully improvised. We get like one suggestion from the audience, and then we do a full 50-minute improvised World War II story. It's called Over There, the Improv Theater in Los Angeles, 9:30 tonight. Bang.
Yes. And
yay. Well done. Well, that's it for this week. It's always a pleasure streaming with you, my friend.
What a tip of the cap you are on my week every time.
Well, we did it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week when we'll be talking about God knows what, but we'll be talking about something.
Hey, everybody out there, shut up, would you?
On that note, bye.
This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced.
Wrong video. Hold on. Here we go.